It's not your samples, it's not your beats, it's not the DM message you use, it's not your networking ability. Chances are there's a silent killer that is hurting you from getting placements and achieving anything you really want as a producer. And I think it's something that we've all struggled with. I definitely struggled with it personally, but once I overcame this, everything changed. I started attracting sales, placements, connections, instead of me actually having to chase them. And it made me realize that if you can overcome this obstacle that I'm about to talk about as a producer, you can literally do anything. Now, before we go into that, I want you to tell me if this is you. You get nervous before you post a reel or a story post. You get discouraged at the amount of likes that some of your content gets. You know that posting is important, but you don't really know where to start, which ends up in you overthinking and just not actually doing anything. And you'd rather just make music than have to come up with video ideas. So if I was able to get any of that right, it's probably because I was exactly the same. The silent killer is hesitation to truly put yourself out there online. It's the fear of judgment, it's the overthinking, it's the waiting for things to be perfect. Now, before you click away and think, oh, like, I know I need to post more, I can't be arsed listening to this. Here's the thing, posting isn't about followers and likes. It is literally the solution to any single problem you are currently facing as a producer. And I'll explain exactly how in a second. But first, let me show you why this hesitation is just really, really deadly. All right, I'm gonna show me going through my DMs, and this is also how all the biggest producers I know go through their DMs. All right, so this is a good example, right? I got this message and I just click, and it's like, who is that? You know what I mean? Like, that in my brain just doesn't register as like a real human. And I'm sure there is a lovely real human that's behind that screen. All right, same thing here. In no means am I trying to disrespect these people. But the point I'm trying to make is if the page looks shit, you're not gonna get a response. You can have the best beats ever, the best samples ever. Maybe you have a really, really good DM script, right? The message you send is really compelling. But if the page doesn't look good, if you haven't put yourself out there and conveyed who you are as a person, nothing else matters. And when you understand the three things that I'm about to explain, you're going to quickly realize that the fear you have around posting is nothing compared to the results that you could be achieving if you just pulled the trigger and started building your brand properly. So first of all, you need to understand that posting yourself is networking on autopilot. So as you would already know, we have to be networking. Instead of being on calls with someone one-on-one, or instead of sending DMs one-on-one, when you are posting yourself, you are now networking one-to-many. You're letting people know who you are and the value that you can provide on autopilot instead of manually, right? Manually is on DMs. You're doing on autopilot, so you can be asleep, you can be on vacation, you can be focusing on making loops, and whilst that's happening, you are networking to people on autopilot because the content that you've posted is getting views and it's getting impressions, etc. Now, this means two things. First of all, people come to you, right? And they come to you a lot warmer because they already know who they're talking to. They already know the value that you can provide. So you don't have to let them know, it's already there. It's like they already know you. And two, when you send messages, response rates are significantly higher. The relationship doesn't start at level one. It doesn't start at you being like, yo bro, like I've produced for this artist. You're not like there trying to convince yourself. Like people already know of your worth. All right, the second point is just the 1% mindset, right? So it's purely statistical. Everyone watching this video, you want to be in the top 1% of producers or even the top 0.1%. This means through statistics, you can't be doing what all the other 99% of producers are doing. You just can't. And you just have to ask yourself, okay, like what does the average producer's Instagram look like? What does the average producer do when it comes to posting content, when it comes to posting their face? And the answer is they do fucking nothing. They post black screen beats, they've never posted their face, they've never posted a reel, no one knows who the fuck they are, right? The brand just looks shocking. So it just makes pure sense to not do what they're doing and do what the top people are doing. Because when I ask you like who are the producers you think of, you probably list a few names. And it's like these guys, even though you've maybe never talked to them before, it feels like you know them. I've met people and I've never actually talked to them, but it's like I already knew them. And it's because they did such a good job with their brand, because they were networking on autopilot. So you have to think, top 1%, I have to be doing what the top 1% are doing. I'm gonna have to suck up a bit of discomfort. I'll talk about that a bit later. Now here's the crazy part, right? A lot of producers know that they should post, but they just don't. And I asked in my free group, why? I wanted to know why. And the same answer kept popping up. So let's actually break it down. So as you can see here, what's stopping you from building a personal brand? The main thing is perfectionism / overthinking. Don't know where to start. I'd say that kind of leans into it as well. So it's good to know that most people aren't lazy, but you're just overthinking. You don't know where to start. You feel like everything has to be perfect. And you tell yourself you'll start once you figure it out. Now here is the thing. Knowing what a perfect video looks like, having clarity when it comes to your brand, doesn't come from thinking. It comes from actually posting. It comes from action. If you haven't posted yet because you're waiting for things to be perfect, you're waiting for the lighting to be perfect, you're waiting for the camera to be perfect, you're waiting for your samples to get better. Bro, the thing is you don't know what perfect looks like. When you made your first beat, did you know what a perfect beat sounded like? No. You figured that out along the way as you started taking action. It's the whole idea of like throwing shit at the wall and just seeing what sticks. And if you haven't thrown anything at the wall yet, then how can you expect to know what sticks? And I just want to make a really, really important point. That feeling that you get in your stomach before you post and you're like a bit nervous and you're like, shit, I wonder what this person's gonna think. It goes away. It's not permanent. When I posted my first like guitar sample making reel, I was nervous. I was like, shit, you know, like I'm putting my face out here. Like this is a bit like different for my brand. And now I will post an outrageous reel and I won't even give a solitary fuck. Like I don't even check. I have my likes and comments, like I don't even have the notifications on. So I'll just post it and I'll just like get on with my day and I'm not even like checking it, right? And the point I'm trying to make is every time you put in a rep, your fear shrinks because you stop giving a fuck, right? Like if I was to check my notifications tab right now, this is in the last hour, like there's just a lot of people liking different reels. So like I don't care if I post one and doesn't do well. Like it doesn't matter because I'm just taking a lot of shots. So this is how I want you guys to approach it. I don't want it to be like, because if you posted one reel and it doesn't do well, then you are gonna feel like a bit shit. But if you posted 100 reels and 97 of them didn't do well, but you had 3 that were flying, you wouldn't care. Because like, look at these 3 reels. You know, it doesn't matter. Like you only win or you learn. Like I can't stress this enough, right? So like just looking at like, it doesn't matter. Guys, I'm gonna roast myself here with this video, but I'm just gonna show you like the first talking video I ever made. It's fucking woeful.
That I see producers making. These are all mistakes that I'm super
Oh, that's already cringed the fucking life out of me.
guilty of making myself, so I'm not making this video from a place of moral superiority, but really in a hope
Holy
that maybe
cringe,
somebody watching
cunt.
it can identify they're making these mistakes and not make them.
Oh, that's actually fucking crazy. Holy shit. That's funny as fuck to watch. That's a woeful, like, yeah. Just like the energy's bad. The way that I'm speaking is like zero confidence. But like, this is the whole point. Like, I wouldn't be at this point now where like, since then I've, you know, been able to grow my brand a lot since then. I can speak in front of a camera a lot more confidently. Like I wouldn't be at this point if I didn't take that action. That's actually really funny just to watch that. But yeah, like if you just confronted a tiny bit of comfort, you'd be in the same position looking at your old videos and laughing. But because you haven't taken any action, it's just like you haven't started yet. Like you're still at level 1. Now in a second, I'm gonna give some tips on how to actually start with content because I can see here people don't know where to start. But the one thing that I wanna say is all of your problems can actually be solved if you have a big personal brand. Because if you're currently getting placements, you wanna get cash coming in every day, having a personal brand is more eyeballs, which means more people to sell to. If you wanna get more placements and you're posting your music, you're attracting people who come to you and they ask for your stuff. You'd be absolutely shocked at the people who respond and the people who hit you up when you're posting stuff. So like it gives you more leverage, but it just opens up so many doors. Like imagine if you had 100K followers right now. Think about how different your life would actually be. Think about the amount of people that would respond to you and how easy it would be to make money than your current position. So I just really want to stress this point, like a personal brand is actually kind of the solution to like pretty much every problem if it's built correctly. I'm going to talk about how to start right now before we end this video. I'm gonna be talking about Instagram and I'm gonna be talking about 2 types of content that you can post. So number 1 is attract content where you're attracting a new audience. And then 2 is nurture content, which is your current audience is being nurtured and you're moving them further down the funnel and they like you more than they did before you posted that video. So attract content, I was talking to Baragini in a recent podcast. He was telling me he just goes purely for attract content. He doesn't even worry about nurture content at all. And that's why he has so many followers, because he's just going big the whole time. This is when you're going for a lot of views, a lot of shares, a lot of follows. And if you're stuck and you're thinking, okay, well, how can I make attract content? Just ask yourself, like, what are you really good at? What's something that you can do that most producers can't do? And that's probably where the answer is. Every single person watching this, you probably have some like unique strength that puts you in the top 1% of the producer population. So you actually have to figure out what that is. And if you don't know what that is, then you have some work to do. But like, for example, I talk to guys and they're like, oh, I don't know where to start, but they make like insane samples. And I'm like, bro, your samples are better than most producers. That's probably the thing that you should do. For me, I know one of my strengths is I can talk to a camera when most people aren't prepared to do that. And 2, I'm not really afraid to put my personality out there and just like say something outrageous. That gives me an edge. It's like, why don't I double down on that with Reels, for example? Ask yourself, what is it that you're irreplaceable at? If you don't have something, it's your job to find that out. Then the next thing is nurture content. I really like nurture content because this is really what moves someone from like a follower to a supporter, I guess you can say. I kind of just made that up on the spot, but it makes sense. An example that I could give is my mentorship student, Nate. got Lil TJ's number recently. And like the day before, he was kind of doubting his producer career. And when he got it, he was really happy. He called me and he was like, bro, like before I was doubting my producer career. And I said, that would make an excellent reel. I told him, I was like, why didn't you make a video about how you were doubting yourself and then you got this number, and just goes to show like all those late nights you put in, all the persistence, etc. pays off. And then he made the video, and like the video was very well received on Instagram. That's a perfect example of nurture content, because you're showing like who you are, you're talking about your journey, you're talking about your struggles, you're talking about like motivation. Things like this is bound to be received well by your current audience. Stuff to do with your journey, for example. Like that's something that you can lean into. If you're working a really shit job that you don't like and you're trying to produce so you can quit that job, like why not make a video series out of it? Because that's actually interesting. Like I saw this little kid and he was trying to get buff, he was trying to get into shape, and it was like day one of trying to get into shape. So he twisted a negative, what's seen as a negative, which was he was like extremely skinny, into a positive, because he was doubling down on it and leaning into it. And that gave him this content formula which absolutely exploded his stuff. So you might be thinking like, oh, you know, it's really shit that I work this job. I'd say flip that into a positive and make like a video series out of it, like day one of trying to leave my 9 to 5 with beats, you know, something like that, right? I like this style of content because it shows who you are as a person. It gives them like a journey element. It's good for nurturing. And what's even better is if content that you meant to have nurture an audience goes viral and it ends up being attract content. That's like the absolute best case scenario. The last thing I'm gonna say, I'm just dumping information. Be clear on why you're posting and make content around those people. So I'll give you an example. If you're trying to get placements, it's good to post the like sample this reels, and you attract people who are like, bro, send me that loop. It's really dumb to try and get beat sales and you're posting sample this videos. That makes zero fucking sense. Because sample this videos are attracting producers and you're trying to attract artists. So be clear on who you're trying to attract. Super important. Guys, if you actually want one-on-one help building your brand, if you want me to actually like walk you through the process, obviously everyone has their own set of strengths and weaknesses. And if you want a bit more advanced help, like building a brand around that, I have a link in the description which gives you a few more details of it. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video and we will talk soon.